Welcome to 100 Yards of Football. Today is our college football game preview. It's the Kentucky Wildcats taking on the Tennessee Volunteers. If you like the video today, please come in and share it. I'm your host, Vincent Turner. What a big football game this weekend. The third-ranked Tennessee Volunteers taking on the 18th-ranked Kentucky Wildcats. Let's start with the Kentucky Wildcats. And by the fact, let's start with this series. You got Kentucky, Lexington, Kentucky, which is about 4.5 hours from the University of Tennessee, and usually play at the end of the year. But this game happens to be around in October. And you got two teams that really basically have been a surprise in college football this season. The Kentucky Wildcats, Mark Stoops has done an outstanding job. Them being 5-2, this is where we probably had Kentucky in the SEC East where we thought they would land. 2 weeks ago against Mississippi State. We know what Kentucky is about. We know what they like to do. They got a Pro Bowl quarterback in Will Levis that came back. And last week, 2 weeks ago, he had over 230 yards passing, 1 touchdown versus Mississippi State. But what was very impressive, Kentucky got back to their old school football. Chris Rodriguez had over 196 yards on 30 carries. So basically, we know what the Wildcats are going to do in this football game. They're going to try to control clock. They're going to try to really slow down that Tennessee offense. And most of all, Kentucky plays defense at a high level. Go back and watch the Florida game film. Justin Rogers, J.J. Weaver, DeAndre Square, Kendron Smith had that big 6 pick against Florida, and Jaquez Jones. Now, the Tennessee Volunteers. How proud could I be of this program right now? I'm going to give flowers to Josh Heupel. Make no bones. Make no mistake, I didn't think he had the Volunteers back in 2 years. I didn't see it. But sometimes when you bring in the right coach, the right system, things happen. And then the quarterback, Hendon Hooker. What more can you say about this young man here? 2 weeks ago, last week against UT Martin, 276 yards, 4 touchdowns. But what's been really amazing about Mr. Hooker on the year, if there's had been any better player in the country, leading this program, young man on the year, 2,093 yards, 18 touchdowns, 1 interception. And you think about all the great quarterbacks that's played in this program that's made an impact in their years at Tennessee, from Bobby Scott in the late 60s, to Condrich Holloway in the late 70s. Then you think about Tony Robinson out of Leon High School, Tallahassee, how he had the Volunteers rocking in 85. Then the young man that followed him, Andy Kelly. Then another young man that came up the road from Louisiana, daddy played at Ole Miss, Peyton Manning. And then you think about the man who led Tennessee to a national championship, the last one in 1998, T. Martin. Now you got this young man that's on the verge. I'm not saying Tennessee is going to win the national championship, but I'm saying this right here. It feels good to be involved. And right now, Tennessee is sitting number 3 in the country, and they got a big game against Kentucky that I'm coming on. And then next week, the battle in Athens against number 1 ranked Georgia. But when you look at the Tennessee offense, as I just posted the numbers of Mr. Hooker, you got to think about all the great players that's played on the offensive side of football, from Lester McLean in the 60s, to Willie Gault in the 80s, to Dale Wilson, to Lenny Taylor, to Clyde Duncan, to Tim McGee, to Eric Swanson, to Joey Clint-Scales. Then you're looking in the 90s and the early 2000s, Marcus Nash, Peerless Price. Going back to the 80s, Terrence Cleveland. The young man out of the 901, my hometown, Hillcrest High School, Vincent Moore. The young man out of Cleveland, Ohio. 2 young men out of Cleveland, Ohio, Anthony Morgan and Anthony Hancock. The explosion. Johnny Moore at the tailback position. Chuck Weld. Oh, my God. The late, great Reggie Carr. And the Tennessee offense is averaging 50 points a game. Can't be stopped. It's no question about it. The best offense right now is up there on the hill in Knoxville, Tennessee, before 102,000 in Neyland Stadium. I'm trying to really refrain myself from getting excited about this program because I've been following this program since I was 8 years old. And now to see where it's had its lows and where it's had its highs, I don't think the Volunteers are going to take a step back. And one other guy that I want to give an MVP award, And I sit up here last night when I was doing my homework as Jalen Hyatt. How in the world did he get out of South Carolina? Right there in the Gamecocks' backyard, University of South Carolina, in Clemson. 40 receptions on the year, 769 yards, 19.92 yards average, and 12 touchdowns, 5 against Alabama. Make no bones, he is the best receiver in the country right now. Not Jordan Addison. I'm sorry. Not the gentleman over there that's playing receiver at Alabama, such as Jermaine Burton. Right now, Jalen Hyatt is the best receiver in the country. So what I see on Saturday, I see a very good Kentucky team led by Mark Stoops. They play defense over there. They're going to try to run the football, control the time clock. But nah, when it's all said and done, this is a Tennessee offense that's going to continuously roll. I see the Volunteers making a statement game before they come over here in Athens. I'm 30 minutes out of Athens. I'm a resident here in Douglasville, Georgia. And I see Tennessee rolling 49-28. Yes, sir, I see the Volunteers going to put up some points. Matter of fact, let me step back again. Kentucky, 7 more points. 49-35. Make no bones. I know Will Levis is an outstanding football player, excellent NFL pro prospect. I know Chris Rodriguez might be the best back in the SEC right now. As I mentioned, 196 yards against Mississippi State. But you're looking at the offense. In my opinion, right now, no question about it, might be the best offense in Tennessee history. Real talk. So, if you like the video today, please come in and share it. To my producer, Mr. Logan Landers. All I know about Tennessee is this right here. The great cities of Tennessee: Nashville, Memphis, Ripley, Covington, Gatlin, Pittsburgh, Chattanooga, Loudoun, Lenoir City, Powell, Halls. Everybody's going to be ascending. On Saturday evening at 7 p.m., it's an ESPN game in Neyland Stadium, and watching the third team in the country, the University of Tennessee, do their thing. Appreciate you here today, here on 100 Yards Football. Thank you. Once again, I'm Vincent Turner, and to my producer for making it happen, Mr. Logan Landers.